Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for part 2 of the Classical Music History Review session. Last we left off was at the Symphony. A symphony is a song for a full orchestra. They could range from 20 minutes to over an hour long. Here's an example. Here is the Surprise Symphony Movement 2 by Joseph Franz Haydn. As you can see, there is a full orchestra. That is a symphony. Alright, next up on the list, a string quartet. A string quartet is a small performing group of string instruments, commonly in 2 violins, 1 viola, and 1 cello. So, we're going to see 2 violin players. There's a violist. And a cellist. 4. Quartet. String quartet. Alright, so this music was secular. That means not religious. There is a big focus on instrumental music in the common practice era. And this music was absolute. The notes sounded nice. There was no story to tell. The notes didn't mean anything. They just sounded interesting and musical. That's what absolute music means. Right, continuing on, we have the Romantic era. The Romantic era was from 1825 to 1900. It took up all of Europe. Composers came from all over Europe. So, there's the school. Let's take the Honda for a spin. We'll go east over the Atlantic, and then we see Europe. Europe is all of these countries, including parts of Russia. There's a, that's Europe. Okay, so, it was started by Beethoven. He put human emotions and feelings into the songs, and everybody wanted to copy Beethoven. So this whole time period, the Romantic time period, it sounded exciting, dramatic, passionate, colorful, exotic, and extreme. It was inspired by many things like, fantasy things, supernatural things, the weather, different countries, nature, magic, fairy tales, mythology. There was a strong nationalist movement where composers wrote music to make their countries proud, to show pride in the lands they came from. And this also came at the same time as the Industrial Revolution. So there's factories making more instruments, higher quality, more consistent in their craftsmanship, and just the whole manufacturing process helped to change instrument creation. There's the symphonic poem. That's a short song for an orchestra. It's the big boy version of a sonata. All right. If we skip sonata, I'm sorry. Sonata is a small song for one instrument. Sonata, one song for a small instrument. Sonata. All right. Most of these songs were programmatic. They were program music. They told stories. They were about things. All these things up here, this is what the songs were about, and orchestras got bigger. And finally, we have the Modernist era of music history from 1900 until the present. Composers can come from anywhere. The big theory here, though, is that the music was no longer convergent, but now divergent. All right? So that means instead of everybody trying to write the best symphony or the best string quartet, everybody wanted to be different. The focus was divergent. Everybody wanted to try different things, to be unique, to be different. This was kind of led to the death of classical music. Classical music is no longer the top draw. If you go to a concert, it's probably not classical. You could still see it in universities and different orchestras around the world in big cities, but, it's not the most popular form of music anymore. Also during this time period was mega changes in globalization, such as technology, communication, and transportation. And there's any bunch of different styles. Anything goes. Composers wanted to experiment, to try new things. That goes more along the lines of that divergent thinking again. The 2 main characteristics of this time period of classical music was the neo-romantics. They just wanted to kind of continue the traditions of the Romantic era with these big, loud, extreme, extroverted songs. And the Impressionist time period. It was, there was a group of composers who thought that the Romantic era was too much, so they made music opposite of that. They tried to make it peaceful, soft, mellow, chill, dreamy, relaxed, introverted, thoughtful, relaxing kind of music. All right? So, that's the basic time periods, all right? On your review sheet, you'll also see some facts about some composers, right? There's Franz Joseph Papa Haydn. He was from Austria. He was known as the father of the symphony and string quartet. He wrote 112 symphonies. He was credited as making that a popular form of art. He might not have made the best symphonies, but he was the first person to make good symphonies. Mozart, right? We know Mozart. He was from Salzburg, Austria. He wrote simple, playful, happy melodies, like bum, 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 like things that are easy to sing along with. They just get stuck in your head. He had an incredible musical brain. He was a child prodigy. That means he's incredibly talented as a young child. He wrote his first concerto when he was 4, his first symphony when he was 7, and his first opera, a full-scale opera, when he was 12. He went on the Great Western Tour. The Great Western Tour is when he was 5 years old, he toured all throughout Europe, playing concerts for anybody who's important, positions of power, government officials, noblemen, the Pope, anybody, who was anybody, he played concerts for these people for 3 years when he was 5 years old. And then Ludwig von Beethoven, many historians consider him to be the greatest composer of all time. And he wrote serious, dramatic, emotional music. He was German. He went deaf around 1800, so like around 30, it was like a gradual thing, and then he went deaf. He lost his hearing. He was a piano virtuoso. He was extremely talented at the piano. He could play cadenzas and solos, and he was marveled for that. And he was kind of responsible for the entire Romantic era. Everybody wanted to copy his human passions that he, infused into his compositions, and they wanted to, copy that for themselves, and that started the whole next time period. And, the fact that one person completely changed the course of music history, because we still have tons of emotion in our songs nowadays, is one reason why, everybody considers him the best. All right, so let's talk about the test. The test, there it is, nice and boring, just how I like it. All right, I'm going to play a few songs. The songs are going to be, I'm going to play a song, you have to tell me whether it's medieval or Renaissance. Hint, you have to see if it's monophonic or polyphonic. Got it? Good. All right, I'm going to play a song. You're going to have to identify whether it is a symphony, a concerto, or a string quartet. So a symphony is a giant song for an entire orchestra. A concerto is a song for an orchestra featuring one soloist. A string quartet is a song for only 4 string instruments, which are 2 violins, 1 viola, and 1 cello. And you know what? Let's YOLO. Let's add sonata to the list, because we can. Sonata is a short song for 1 instrument. Okay. I'm going to play you a song. You have to determine whether it's religious, sacred, program, tells a story, or absolute, there's no other purpose. All right? There's going to be a question, is this song romantic or impressionist? Is it going to be loud and crazy and exciting, or reserved, mellow, and laid back? I'm going to play a song. Is this song Baroque or common practice, right? So Baroque music is that really fancy, rich, royal, snobby-sounding music, and the common practice era is that more refined, elegant Mozart and Haydn and Beethoven kind of stuff. You're going to have to put the 6 classical music time periods in order. So all those questions are worth 10 points, and questions 7 and 8 are worth 20 points. Question 7, tell me as much as you can about one classical composer. Please take up all the lines, write as many facts as you want about a classical composer, whether it's Mozart or Beethoven or Bach or Haydn or anybody else, all right? And question 8, tell me as much as you can about one classical time period. So that is, any one of these 6, medieval, Renaissance, Baroque, common practice, Romantic, and Modernist. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. Hopefully you study and get a good grade. Thanks, bye.